use the insert equation feature in order to insert equations into a Google Doc. Sometimes this is nice if you want to be able to type your mathematics instead of having to handwrite and take pictures. So here's how it works. If I want to insert an equation into a Google Doc, I'm going to need to use some of my toolbars in order to get it to work. So we'll give this a moment to load up. So one thing you might want to consider doing is increasing your font size. I've noticed that as I've used insert equation, if the font is set pretty tiny, it gets even tinier when you use the equation features. So sometimes it's nice to up the font size a wee bit to make it easier to see. So then we come up here to insert and we choose equation. Now what you'll notice is that it put a toolbar up here with a lot of different options in it. It all depends on what it is you are wanting to insert as to which one you pick. So those are all your Greek letters, if you need like delta and pi, which is kind of fun. And there's theta, which is a variable for angles. This toolbar has your operations. That's where the division symbol lives, the plus or minus symbol, which you'll use for some of you this year, various and sundry different symbols and notations, even delta could be there as well. So lots of options. In the next menu is where you find all of your comparison symbols. Mostly it's the first two that you're going to be looking for, and then approximate and not equals. A lot of the other ones, that one means similar, are things that you'll use. That one means equivalency. You'll use them in higher level. Now this one is kind of good. This is where the fraction and the root things live. Different kinds of roots. This is also where subscripts and exponents live. So that first row is the one I use more often than anything, especially the exponent and fraction ones. You got some different parentheses and absolute value bars and some different options as well. This is just arrows. Not something you're probably going to use frequently, but they're there in case you want to use some of them. Now, let's take a look at actually doing it. I'm going to go here. Once I've got insert equation, it's going to have this button over here for this doc. So I'm going to put new equation. And now I'm going to decide what it is I want to submit and put in my doc. So let's say I'm going to do a fractions problem. What I do is I choose the fraction. Now I can type in the numerator, and using my sideways arrow, I can get down into the denominator and type in that. Now I use my sideways arrow to get out of the fraction. So say I wanted to write 2/3 x, now I can type x. And then let's do minus 10 equals, and let's put another fraction in. So I go grab the fraction again, and I type in my numerator, and I arrow to my denominator. If I arrow sideways too much, like that, I'll end up out of the equation and back into the doc. If I need to edit that equation again, I can always go back in and change it. And then, of course, if you wanted to, you would now solve that equation from there. Now, let's do another new equation. Let's try inserting something different. So this time, I've typed a 3. I want to put in x squared, maybe even x to the third. So what I do is I choose that. Let's do x to the third. I chose that option. I typed the x, and then I did a sideways arrow to get up to the exponent. And then a sideways arrow got me out of the exponent so that I could finish typing the rest of that expression. Okay, let's try something else now. Come on. There we go. The other way you could do an exponent, just so you know, and I don't know how this works on Chromebooks, but sometimes there are some keyboard shortcuts that would allow you to do an exponent. I know that on a Mac, Command period gets the exponent like that. I'm not sure on the Chromebook. So you may end up just using the insert equation feature if you want to do an exponent. Besides, it looks prettier that way. Let's do something else now. We're going to insert another equation. So let's see, what shall we do this time? Let's go over here. Let's put in another fraction. So we'll do our 1/2. And this time we're going to actually put a variable with an exponent. But we want to put in an expression. So you notice I chose the exponent. Then I chose the parentheses. I typed in what was in the parentheses, arrow sideways, type in the exponent, arrow sideways, and now I can keep typing whatever it is I want to type in. So that's how you would put something in parentheses with an exponent. All right, let's take a look at doing some kind of a root. We're going to do something other than a square root. So if you need to do something other than a square root, you would choose the option, and then again, you'd use your sideways arrows to help you get into the various places where you would insert the various numbers. Those are some of the basics of how to use insert equations. This is not something you're required to know how to do, but it's always nice to learn some new techie skills. So tonight you're going to just play with this feature and see if you can figure out how to make the equations insert. Good luck, and I hope you enjoy playing with the new tool.